Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is Amanda Santos from the channel Amanda Santos BR. If you're new here, welcome. I'm a Brazilian living in the Canary Islands, but the whole world is my backyard. Today I invite you to step into a living memory with me. I went back to a street that was my home 10 years ago, in Barcelona, Calle Trafalgar. And right there, where I had walked so many times dreaming about the future, there's now something that touched me deeply, the Banksy Museum. It felt as if the past had taken me by the hand and led me to an encounter between art, rebellion, and memories. This video isn't just about a museum. It's about revisiting who I once was, understanding who I am today, and maybe inspiring you to do the same. If you like soulful travels, purposeful art, and stories that transform, stay with me until the end. Because every place I visit is a new piece of the puzzle that is living with freedom, courage, and sensitivity. The same street, the same golden light hitting the old buildings. The wrought iron balconies still breathe stories. The ochre-toned facades with solid wooden doors and windows framed by stone seem frozen in time, yet they welcomed me as if I had never left. And there, between a past that still beats and a present full of discoveries, I found the unexpected. The Banksy Museum. Yes, the artist who challenges the system with his provocative graffiti is now exhibiting there, right on the street where I once dreamed, walked, and rediscovered myself every day. It was as if the universe had left me this gift. Seeing his art there, so alive, so critical, so human, made me think about how everything is connected. This video is not just about the museum. It's about belonging. About looking back with affection and realizing how much we evolve when we allow ourselves to live with intensity and presence. It's about the hidden beauty in the architecture that inspired me long before I even realized it. And of course, it's about you too, who walk with me on this journey and maybe are also searching for your own streets, your own answers. If you love travel with soul, cities that tell stories, and art that shakes you from within, stay with me until the end. Because every step I take, every video I create, is also an invitation for you to live with more meaning, more freedom, and more truth. Upon entering the museum, it's impossible not to feel the shift in atmosphere. The walls seem to carry a raw, pulsating energy, as if each piece had something urgent to say. Banksy has that power. He doesn't just paint, he communicates with strength, irony, and often pain. Banksy speaks little, but says a lot. His messages cross languages, borders, and contexts. They work anywhere in the world because they touch on universal themes: inequality, war, consumerism, freedom, censorship. And even when addressing such heavy topics, he always inserts a dose of humor or lightness that disarms us. As I walk through the rooms, I notice the museum doesn't try to glorify the artist. Quite the opposite. It presents Banksy as someone who never wanted to be in the spotlight. Someone who has always resisted the traditional art system, even while being one of the most valuable figures in the market. There's also a section dedicated to his most famous urban interventions, like the suit-wearing banker throwing money away, or soldiers spray painting hearts. These are images that circulate on social media, but in person they gain a new power. The scale, the texture, the closeness, everything changes. Each work has a context. Some appeared in conflict zones, like the wall between Israel and Palestine. Others in alleyways of big cities, where inequality is blatant. Banksy doesn't choose random places. He points his finger at the wounds, and does it with spray paint and stencil. But perhaps the most curious thing is that even while opposing the commercialization of art, his works have sold for millions at auctions. And he himself mocks this. On one occasion, one of his pieces self-destructed right after being auctioned. A brilliant performance that made headlines worldwide. The museum also shows videos of anonymous actions he carried out, like when he smuggled a painting into a major museum without permission and no one noticed for days, or when he created a fake shop with products critical of capitalism. Banksy is subversive even between the lines. One of the works that touched me the most in the museum was the portrait of Steve Jobs as a refugee. Yes, the founder of Apple, wearing that trademark turtleneck sweater, appears here carrying a black plastic bag on his back and an old computer in his hands. Banksy painted this mural in 2015, directly on the walls of a refugee camp in Calais, France, a place known as the jungle. The image is simple, but what it carries is immense. Steve Jobs was the son of a Syrian immigrant, And this piece throws that reality in our face, unfiltered. It's a direct and painful reminder that behind every person fleeing there is a story, a potential, a human being with dreams, and that closing borders is often closing the doors to the future. Banksy even commented at the time, "We're often led to believe that immigration is a burden on the country. But Steve Jobs only existed because a young man from Homs was welcomed." Homes, now in ruins because of war. This work is just one of many he created to denounce the way Europe treated, and still treats, refugees. But it stands out because it turns a symbol of capitalist success into a reminder of our shared humanity. And at its core, that's what Banksy's art does all the time. It makes us see the other. It reminds us that no one chooses to be a refugee, and that sometimes the person arriving with a bag on their back might change the whole world. As I walk, I think about how he uses the city as his gallery. His graffiti is temporary, vulnerable, sometimes erased the very next day. And that teaches us something. His art isn't meant to last. It's meant to awaken. A fleeting call, but one that can echo for a lifetime. This exhibition reminded me that art doesn't have to be comfortable. Sometimes it exists precisely to disturb, to provoke, to shake us out of autopilot. And Banksy does that like few others. Without showing his face, without seeking fame, he shows us the world in a different light. And it's interesting to see how people react here. Some remain silent, others smile. Some photograph everything, others just observe. Banksy's art is open. Each person interprets it in their own way. And that, too, is freedom. A few steps later, I see one of his most emblematic works, the boy throwing flowers as if they were a grenade, a gesture of peace disguised as revolt. This inversion is what makes Banksy so impactful. He takes symbols of violence and transforms them into poetry. Another striking image is the girl letting go of a heart-shaped balloon. Simple, quiet, yet deeply moving. This work has been interpreted as loss, hope, childhood, love, grief, and maybe it's all of those at once. The museum ends with a reflective room with phrases and excerpts he is said to have spoken or written in his works. Quotes like, "Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable." And it's impossible to leave without feeling, in some way, transformed. Returning to this street 10 years later and finding this space felt like an answer. Maybe a confirmation that I'm on the right path, living with more presence, more art, more truth, and sharing that with you who walk alongside me, even from afar. If you have the chance to come to Barcelona, include this museum in your itinerary. Not just to see the art, but to feel what it stirs inside you. It's a visit that moves you, shakes you, and somehow rearranges something within. And if this video touched you in any way, leave a comment below. Tell me which work impacted you the most. Because sometimes, all we need is a creative push to remember who we are and how much we can still transform the world around us. In times like these, with wars happening live, migration crises repeating like open wounds, and a constant sense that authoritarianism is creeping back disguised as order, mindsets like Banksy's are essential. Because he doesn't stay silent. And more than that, he turns pain into expression, chaos into reflection, and fear into message. In this context, art is not a luxury, it's a necessity. For those of us who feel the world more intensely, who get emotional easily, and sometimes wonder if we're alone in this sensitivity, seeing a work like Banksy's is like finding a silent hug, a sign that there are more people watching, feeling, questioning. And when we realize we're not alone, a different kind of strength is born within us, a desire to create, to take part, to transform as well. Art, in this sense, is a meeting place, a space where our wounds can breathe and our ideas can take shape. It doesn't solve the world, but it helps us move forward with more clarity and courage. And when art is used consciously, as in Banksy's case, it becomes a seed of the future, a seed of justice, of beauty, of truth. I truly believe that God created us with this ability to build a good world, a fair, sensitive world, full of beauty and purpose. But it seems that many people got lost along the way. Everyone's running, accumulating, distracting themselves, forgetting to look at each other. And that's why the artist has such an important role. He's like a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. Through art, a new light can appear, and with it, the beginning of a different future. More conscious, more human, more truthful. If there's one thing I've learned on this journey of living more mindfully, It's that sensitivity is not weakness, it's strength, it's a bridge. And when we use this sensitivity as a base to create, to communicate, and to connect with others, something powerful happens. Hope starts to breathe again. And maybe that's what the world needs most right now. Sensitive people doing beautiful things with courage, even in the midst of chaos. And now here I am, at the exit of Carré de Sant Pere Més Alt, this beautiful street behind where I used to live, and that has always had a special place in my heart. I loved walking here, paying attention to every detail of the facades, the balconies, the textures. In the next video, I'll take you with me to show the little corners of this neighborhood that enchanted me so much. Barcelona's architecture has this power. It swallows you, wraps around you, and suddenly you're in ecstasy, as if you were inside a living work of art. So stick around, subscribe to the channel, and share with friends who are also passionate about Barcelona. Remember that my content is available in Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, Russian, and English. Stay tuned. There's a lot of beautiful new things coming. Bye-bye!